Okay, we're going to read this HSK 2-level dialogue, which is fairly informal. And the title is 你妈妈在哪里工作? To translate the sentence, we're first going to look at 哪里, which means where, and you also might know that 哪 also means where. So what's the difference? 哪 is more used in northern China, and 哪里 is more used in southern China. To shorten the sentence, we could say 你妈妈在哪里? Here, 在 is a location marker. The pattern is usually location plus 在哪里 means where is location. For example, 图书馆在哪里 means where is the library. But in this case, our sentence is more noun plus 在哪里 means where is noun. So 你妈妈在哪里 follows that pattern and means where is your mother. For the full title, we add 工作 at the end, which means to work. So 你妈妈在哪里工作 means where does your mother work? So this is a dialogue between Xiaoming and Xiaohong, and Xiaoming says, 小红，你妈妈做菜可真好吃. First, let's look at the pattern of this name. So on the left is 小, which means little, and on the right is 红, which is the person's given name or first name. Next is the vocab word 做菜, which means to cook as a verb or cooking as a noun. It is composed of the verb 做 on the left, which means to do or to make, and 菜 on the right, which means like a dish. In our example, 你妈妈做菜 is like the dishes that your mom makes or your mom's cooking. Next, let's go over 可真好吃. But first, let's look at it without 可, so just the 真好吃 part. The pattern is that 真 acts as a modifier and is put before an adjective. So our example is 真好吃, which means really good, since 好吃 means like good or delicious. And this 可 is an informal way to intensify an adjective that would only be used in spoken Chinese. So 可真好吃 is emphasizing that the cooking is really good. So this sentence means 小红，你妈妈做菜可真好吃. 小红, your mother's cooking is really good. I also want to mention how this sentence has a to be verb, is, in it, but it doesn't have the word 是. So this pattern is basically a noun and an adjective next to each other, and we will usually have a modifier modifying the adjective. So the pattern is noun, modifier, adjective means noun is adjective. In our example, 你妈妈做菜 is our noun, and 真好吃 is our adjective, and 可 is there informally to intensify the adjective. Next, Xiaohong says, 是啊，我妈妈是厨师. In the first part, 是啊 means yeah, and this ah at the end is because it's spoken Chinese and it's showing like a tone of excitement, enthusiasm, or exclamation. Another way to say yes is 是的, but the difference is this has less emotion in it. In the second half of the sentence, the vocab we need to know is 厨师, which means a cook. And I also wanted to point out that the second character 师 is the same 师 in 老师, which means teacher. So our sentence follows this pattern. Noun 1 plus 是 plus noun 2 means noun 1 is a noun 2. 我妈妈是厨师 means my mom is a cook. Xiaoming then says, 真的吗？你妈妈在哪里工作? The first part is 真的吗? And I think of 真的 as one word, and 真的吗 is a set phrase that means really. And the second half, 你妈妈在哪里工作 means where does your mom work, and is the title of the article, which we've already gone over, so we won't go over it twice. Next, Xiaohong says, 她在一个西餐厅工作. For vocab, 西 means west, 餐厅 can mean dining room, cafeteria, or restaurant. And you also might know 饭馆 means restaurant, but that can only mean restaurant. Combining our vocab words gives 西餐厅, which means like a restaurant that serves Western cuisine. The sentence revolves around this pattern with 在, which is subject 在, location, verb, means that subject verbs at location. So 她 she is the subject, 一个西餐厅 a restaurant that serves Western cuisine is the location, and 工作 to work is the verb. 她在一个西餐厅工作 means she works at a restaurant that serves Western cuisine. So that was the first half of the sentence. The second half is 她做的牛排特别好吃. For vocab, 牛排 means steak, and 特别 means really or especially, and is a modifier. Our sentence is basically in the pattern noun plus modifier plus adjective means noun is adjective. 她做的牛排 means the steak that she makes and is the noun, and 特别好吃, which means really good, is our modifier plus adjective. So this whole thing is 她做的牛排特别好吃. Her steak that she makes is really good. Xiaoming then asks, 那个西餐厅在哪儿? And notice that the na at the end is actually pronounced nar. These are one of the many words that can be pronounced with an r at the end, even though it's not written there. In this case, we can't say na, we have to say nar, or we could use the other word for where, 哪里, if we wanted to. Next, Xiaoming says, 我想和女朋友一起去吃. I first want to go over 想, which means to want, and the pattern is 想 plus a verb means that you want to verb. But in our sentence, there's kind of this in between 和女朋友, which means with my girlfriend. The pattern is 和 plus a noun means with that noun. And there's also this 一起, which means together. So 和女朋友一起 means like together with my girlfriend. And finally, we get to the verb of the sentence, which is actually two verbs. First, 去 means to go, and 吃 means to eat. So 去吃 means to go eat. So 我想和女朋友一起去吃 means I want to go eat there with my girlfriend. And lastly, Xiaohong says, 就在市中心. 就 can have a bunch of meanings, but here I believe it just means just or simply. And 在here is marking a location. To understand what 市中心 means, first note that 市 means city and comes from 城市, and 中心 means like center, core, or heart. So 市中心 means the center of the city, but it doesn't have to be the exact center of it. It's more the place where there's the most business or the most people. 就在市中心 then means it's just at the center of the city, at the heart of the city. And that's it for this dialogue.